Okay, this is a shout out to the domain. This is John Chapman, the 44th Imperial Potentate, here to answer some questions that have been sent to me that nobles and daughters have an interest in. There will be no amnesty program during my tenure of office as Imperial Potentate. The reinstatement fee only encompasses the year's per capita tax and a $75 fee, which covers our operating costs in the headquarters office in Memphis. No, there's no staggered payments for NDI. And I believe this question came from a daughter. At the end of the day, everybody is responsible for paying their money at the same time. Okay. What I have told the Imperial Commanders is all of the courts that have not paid by June 15th, I will invoice the Imperial Court for the total amount of money, and the Imperial Commanders can chase you for her money. I'm not chasing anybody for money anymore. First of all, let me give you some clarity. There are no two medical departments. There's only one. Okay. And as far as the town hall webinar on the vaccine, Dr. Otis Kirksey, who is our director of the Community Health Initiative, is preparing that. Absolutely cannot move the Imperial session. We're under contract to the hotels in the city of Philadelphia. Okay. Um, we can cancel, but we can't move. Uh, a virtual exaltation has already been scheduled for February 20th. We have over 375 individuals who will be exalted. Okay. The potentates from 2020, there will be a second exaltation scheduled to accommodate them. And I will also accommodate any noble who has a valid application or recommendation from me to be exalted in the second exaltation. Second exaltation should occur around, I want to say, the end of March, beginning of April. No, no temples or courts will be allowed to conduct virtual creations on their own. The Imperial Council Education and Development Department and the Imperial Court Education and Development Department will conduct all virtual creations. I can't really answer that question as accurately as most people would want me to, because we don't know what the circumstances will be as we move along in this year, what the impact of the vaccinations will have on the COVID spread, okay, and what the regulations and guidelines by the local authorities and or states provide. Certainly every deputy of the desert should schedule a virtual desert conference meeting, and they can't cancel it unless they have my permission. Any donations made to the AEA ONMS for charitable purposes are covered under our 501c8 status of the IRS code, okay, which permits that any donations made to a C8 for charitable purposes are tax deductible. I want to say this. The direction the state seated and state present is important because they're trying to keep the continuity in the group during the virtual meeting. But obviously, sometimes, as is cited here, people are calling in from their phone or they have their screen shut off. So if your screen is off or you're on your phone and not visual, then absolutely, if you're going to move around, it's not a problem as long as you can stay connected audibly to the meeting. If a daughter has an issue that they feel that Deputy for the Oasis nor Deputy to the Desert will address, they should take their concern directly to the Imperial commanders. And then and only then, if they feel they haven't gotten satisfaction at that level, okay, then I will entertain a discussion, okay, to see what the facts of the situation are, and I will discuss them with the Imperial commanders, okay, for she and I to come to a conclusion and an agreement on what ought to happen. Absolutely, noble advisors are required to be in the daughters' monthly meetings. However, if the advisor does or cannot attend, nor the assistant advisor or the illustrious potentate doesn't have a noble that he can have to function in their place during the daughters' meetings, the daughters can continue on and have their meeting, okay? But yes, but the advisor is required to be in the meeting. The daughters can't decide whether the advisor can be in the meeting or not. Yes, temples who have had nobles created in the virtual creation ceremony are required to have a pheasant ceremony. However, using a measure of common sense here, I'm going to ask the Imperial Electorate to develop a format that local temples can use to virtually have a pheasant ceremony. Any noble who was a previously appointed Imperial Council officer has the right to wear their 2 silver pyramids and their tricolor collar. Definitely, I see virtual meetings as an option for temples and courts and deserts to utilize, okay, as we go forward, okay. Once I'm sure that once we can meet in person again, people will be anxious to return to our traditional format, but deputies will have the permission to hold virtual meetings in the future as time comes along. Well, everybody, the Q&A is over, and I appreciate the interest that people take in gaining more knowledge and being more understanding of how the Imperial Council and Imperial Court works. But however, let me put a disclaimer on an issue that my media team brought to my attention. I got my COVID shot on February the 2nd. and I got it at Temple University Leah Corris Center. And the vaccination was sponsored by the Philadelphia Doctors for COVID-19 and the Pan-Hellenic Council, better known as the Divine Nine. And a requirement for being able to receive the vaccine is that a member had to wear some paraphernalia that identifies their membership in either a black fraternity or sorority. So ergo, the Kappa Alpha Psi t-shirt that I was wearing that day. And it also permitted me to bring my wife, okay, as add one, okay, so that she could receive her vaccination. So if there's anybody was wondering, that's why I did it. I also had a baseball cap on with a big W, which was from West Philadelphia High School when I served as principal. So I just felt like if people saw the Imperial Potentate getting the vaccination, it might encourage and motivate them to do the same. This is a real great opportunity we have to talk to each other. Okay, and the questions are increasing, which shows me that the interest by the membership is increasing. And it's important so that we keep clarity as we move along, okay, and we function more effectively and more efficiently as an organization. I was particularly enamored with the question concerning the tax deductible issue. Just let me say that I'm working currently with a staff of people that I put together around this issue of temples and courts having 501c3. Now, there's not anything wrong with a temple having a 501c3. But here's the issue. The membership of the temple has to understand that it has no say and no control over the corporate body that is designated a 501c3. Only the board of directors of the 501c3 control it. The second issue is temples and courts cannot commingle a C3 with their court in their bylaws or anything else. The Imperial Council, okay, is a non and not-for-profit corporation, okay, and it does not have the capability to control another organization or corporation. In addition to the fact it's illegal. So if you have a C3 and it operates outside of your court or temple, your membership just needs to understand that it has no control over, okay, the operation of that C3 court. Now, what's important to understand here is we are not going to allow temples or courts to raise monies and then transfers monies into a C3 court. That, ladies and gentlemen, is known as money laundering. Okay? So if you have a desire to face a criminal prosecution by the United States government, okay, and one count of money laundering carries a term of 5 years or 63 months, feel free. Okay? But the money raised in the court, the money raised in the temple, stays in the court or the temple. I'm also aware that some temples and courts are using these C3s, okay, to circumvent sales taxes when they have balls and other events. Again, that's illegal, okay? Because the event, if sponsored by the C3, cannot be in the name of the temple, cannot be in the name of the court. You cannot regale. You cannot perform any of our consistent protocols. Okay. And most importantly, the insurance that you pay for is not applicable to that event. So I would suggest and urge everyone strongly to avoid this practice. So it's now 20 minutes to 5 my time. I'm cooking some turkey chili and some baby llamas, and I'm going to make a couple of nice steaks, and I'm going to enjoy tonight's Super Bowl. And even though my deputy Imperial Potentate is a Tampa resident, go Chiefs. God bless everybody. Have a good day and a better day tomorrow.